Okay, so here I have Jace with me, and he is my student in the fourth grade. And we're going to be doing a book on the Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Old School. And Jace hasn't completed this book yet, but he has gone halfway through. And can you tell them what we're going to be doing today, Jace?
We're gonna set up a Venn diagram.
Not a Venn diagram. It's okay.
A web diagram.
A web diagram. So, Jace, a web diagram. Can you give me a description in your own words of a web diagram?
It is a web that tells events that happens with the characters in the story.
Okay. So, in your story, I would like you to. You've read half this book, correct?
Yes.
So, we've kind of talked about this, and he's kind of filled me in a little bit about the story. And so we're going to take what you've read about the story and create a web diagram. So typically with a web diagram, you're going to, use your characters that you have read about so far in the story. You're going to tell about the characters, and if the story has listed, if the author has given any explanation to the features or characteristics of the characters.
Okay.
You're going to explain what the characters like to do. What do they enjoy? What are they doing in the story? You're going to give an explanation behind the events in the story that a character is involved in. Or kind of like, have you ever done something with plot, sequence of events, the climax, the problem, and solving the problem in the story? Have you ever done that before, where you took the beginning of the story, what the climax of the story was, the problem,
Yes.
the plot? Okay. So it's kind of similar to that, but you're going to be creating a web. So in that web, like you said in your own description, that you're going to be using the characters and the events in which they take place, and the places and what they're doing, just to kind of give a summary of the story, okay? So to start our web diagram, I would like you to start with the title of the book. So we're going to he's going to write this in, but we're going to fill in the title of the book in the center. Okay, go ahead. And Jace, what is the title of the book?
Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Old School.
Okay. So next, what do you think that we should do? Based off the title, what should we create next in our web diagram?
An event.
So in order to list events, what are we going to need involved?
Characters.
So how about we create the characters within Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Old School first. So go ahead and draw out your characters. Do you know how many characters we're going to have?
No.
Okay. So go ahead and create your bubbles. So what is one character in your book?
Rowley.
Okay. And who is Rowley?
He's Gregory's friend.
So go ahead and write Rally and then go ahead and write his name in the bubble. Okay, now off of that, can you give me an explanation to who he ties to? So you said he's Gregory's friend, right?
Yes.
So Rally is Gregory's friend. So we're going to create a bubble. Okay. Connect that to Rally. Okay. Who's another character?
Manny.
Manny. Okay. So let's create a bubble for Manny. And what connection does Manny have with this story?
Greg's brother.
Okay. Does Greg seem to have a lot of connections in this story
Yes.
with everybody? Does he kind of seem to be the main
Yes.
character? Okay. So what if we change the title of our center and make this all about who? What character would we focus on?
Greg.
Great. Okay. So let's go ahead. You can just cross or just write Greg underneath the bottom. So that way. You can write it down here. So we're now going to focus our web diagram on the character Greg. He seems to have the most connection involved in the story. So let's go ahead and feed off the character Greg. Okay, so tell me something else about a character that's involved with Greg in the story. Who else?
Roderick.
Okay. And who is Roderick?
He's also Greg's brother.
Okay, so go ahead and give a bubble for Roderick. And give an explanation to what Roderick is. Okay, and who else is involved with Greg?
Dad and Mom.
Okay, so let's just give them one bubble. Alrighty. Is there anybody else?
Grandpa.
Okay. Okay. So far we have our characters listed that involve Greg. Now, with these characters in the story, has there anything event-wise or sequence of events that's happened with Greg involved? Has there anything that's been happening with Greg and Rally? What have they done so far in the story?
They have Greg went to Rally's birthday party.
Okay, so
at the ice cream parlor.
okay, so Greg and Rally had a connection in the story. So let's go ahead and put in what they've done so far. We're going to create a web off that. And what were they at the ice cream parlor for?
For Rally's birthday party.
Okay. Okay. So then what about Greg and Manny?
Manny got he won a prize because he guessed the weight of the pig.
Okay, so that is
They won
something.
the pig.
Is that something that happened at the birthday party?
No,
Where did that happen at?
at the fair.
Okay, so can you tell me something about Greg and Manny together that they've done in the book so far? Were they at the fair together?
Yes.
So go ahead and say what you were going to say. Okay, so you said Greg and Manny were both at the fair. I'm going to have you pause right there. So create that as its own single bubble. And do you know why I want you to create that as your own single bubble?
Because that was a scene.
Yes, so it's somewhere that they've been. It's a scene in the book. So go ahead and create that and connect it to Manny. And then you said that Manny did something at the fair, correct?
Yes.
So if Manny did something at the fair, where are we going to create that in our web? Where are we going to put that?
Right here.
Yes. But what are we going to connect it to? If we put our bubble in there, what are we going to connect it to?
Manny.
So this is connected to Manny, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so if Manny was at the fair and won something, what would we connect that to?
Here.
So I want you to revisit the bubble we just wrote. What did you say?
I'll connect it to the bubble that I just wrote.
Okay, so why would you connect it to the bubble you just wrote?
Because that happened when, like, Greg and Manny were at the fair.
Yes, correct. So go ahead and create your... All right. So what about Roderick? How is he involved in the story with Greg?
He had to get a job at the ice cream parlor.
So why did he have to get a job at the ice cream parlor?
Because Mom and Dad didn't like him going away all the time.
So what does that have to do with Greg, though? See, our pattern here shows that Rowley and Greg were together at Rowley's birthday party at the ice cream parlor. Manny is Greg's brother, and Greg and Manny went to the fair together, and then Manny won a pig at the fair. So what has Greg and Roderick done together?
They have, like, all of them, like, his parents and Greg met up because, Roderick didn't like his job, and he, like, Greg told him that, told him to talk to the manager.
Okay, so Greg gave Roderick advice in the
Yes.
story. Okay, so why don't we put in your own words telling about how Greg gave advice to Roderick, and where were they at when they gave this advice?
In the employee's room.
Okay. Basically, why he's filling that in, I wanted to have him. He has done a web diagram before, but it's been a long time. And he's more familiar with a Venn diagram, so I wanted to change it up a little bit and do a web diagram so that way he could understand that sometimes they can be the same but different. And with that, I had him pick this book so that way it was something that he was interested in. It was a topic that he liked, the book that he likes. And I wanted him to understand that you can take different things out of a book, just like a Venn diagram, and create a web to help remember events or things that characters did in the story. So that's why we chose Greg, because he is the main character in Diary of a Wimpy Kid, old school, and he's going to give the best insight to events that have happened and the most detail with the events that have happened inside this book. And it kind of has, as you've seen, stumped him a little bit on even remembering some of the things. He has to stop and think, which I think is good for kids because it gets their memory and jogging back into place to what they remember. Because like I said, he's only finished this book halfway. So bringing back topics from the beginning to the middle is a good way to revisit when you are finishing the rest of the book. If kids maybe stop halfway and kind of pick important topics in the story, that way they can use it to look back on as a summary. Because this is an AR book, and at his school they do have to test on this. So I don't know if all schools where your kids are do the AR reading, but I know that his school does. So all right, back to the web diagram. So the next one on our topic is dad and mom. So what connection do dad and mom have with Greg in this story? What's something that they've been involved together with?
Greg got a sticker and dad got a new car. So if Manny stole the sticker from him and put it on the car, and he tried to get one of those iron sponges things where you have to clean and scrape it with the metal.
So
and it made a whole bunch of scratches when he was trying to get the sticker off because he couldn't. So he ruined Dad's car.
So did Greg do this or did Manny?
Kind of both.
So Greg was the one that was trying to get the sticker off?
Yes.
How did Dad feel about that?
Very bad.
Okay, so what is...
To work.
So go ahead and put the connection that's happened between Greg and Dad. And you can try to make this in no more than one sentence. There you go. Okay. So what connection have Greg and Mom had in the story? What have they done?
So Greg was mad at Mom because she's handing out these forms for to the parents that have kids for no electronics for the weekend.
And is Greg involved in electronics a lot?
Yes.
Okay. How did Greg feel about that?
Annoyed and worried.
Did he do anything about it?
He just
Did he try to stop Mom?
No. Kinda, but not really.
So what did he do then?
He was talking to her and saying how annoyed he is.
So he tried to stop her?
Yeah.
By saying his feelings? Okay, go ahead and put the connection between Greg and Mom. And try to use one sentence to summarize it. Okay, so real quick, I want you to read this part right here.
For the weekend.
No, this top one.
For now.
What word did you mean to use? She was handing out sheets to parents for now electronics or
For now.
there you go. Okay, so what about Grandpa?
They had to give a bath. They had to like scrub him with these long brushes and give him a bath.
Who's we?
Like Greg and like the kids.
They had to give Grandpa a bath?
Yes.
Why did they have to give Grandpa a bath?
Because like it was a punishment. Because like they Roderick and Greg got into like a fight about to not have electronics.
Okay, so did Mom and Dad make them do that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right, so I want to show you the diagram that we've made, or his web diagram, sorry. So basically, we have taken the character, Greg, and using other characters to tell the story about Greg and their involvement with Greg in the story. So I feel like we've really kind of went back and remembered some things that you forgot about after you telling me a little summary of the story. And he, in this web diagram, did a very nice job of keeping everything organized. And he did a good job of explaining the detail and then creating it down just to a simplified sentence. So that way, when you look back at it, it's not a lot of jibber jabber or a lot of cluster together. He can kind of nicely read it and understand what it's saying in just a few words.